welcome you all to our meeting tonight. Just by way of saying, emergency exits out the door to the left, or out the door and all the way down the end of the hall. There is an AED across the hall if needed. And with that, I'd say at this time, anybody has a pager or phone or ringer on, please shut it off or mute it. So if somebody's speaking, they won't get overtaken with the rings and stuff, or whatever you have on your phone. With that, I guess we'll go into a roll call.
Okay, Sharon Steigerwald. Here. Steve Law.
Here.
Dave Martin.
Here.
Rich Slider.
Here.
Jim Plunkett.
Here.
Ed Nelson.
Here.
Steve Hittner.
Here. Okay. Everybody had a chance to read the minutes from last month. Are there any additions, deletions, or otherwise corrections on it? If so, speak up. If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve. Motion approved minutes from April. Second. Third.
Sharon Steigerwald.
Yes.
Steve Law.
Yeah.
Dave Martin.
Yes.
Rich Slider.
Yes.
Jim Plunkett.
Yes.
Ed Nelson.
Yes.
Steve Hittner.
Yes. Okay, the first item on the agenda tonight is from a public hearing that was tabled back a month or so ago for Anthony Piano, 829 Moscow Road. A special use permit to operate his business through ADP Lawn Mowing and Property Maintenance. Basically storing his equipment and some inside work that needs to be done, maybe changing blades in a mower or whatever it might be. We had already set a secret resolution for this, okay? But with it goes our requirement to take the necessary hard look, take a look at the short form environmental impact statement. And it took some time between the original part of the application to get some good engineering drawings, which the applicant provided for us. With that, we became basically the lead agency for seeker to look at a bunch of other things. And so with that, some parts of this project needed to be looked at by the state, DEC, Office of Parks was notified, Monroe County, because of Moscow Road. There was a chance there might be some historic landmarks within a specific radius. We finally received letters back from the county, New York State Parks, Recreation, Historic Preservation. Okay. We got a letter from Pastoral Engineer trying to address there was a conversation or some information on the lesser bittern habitat assessment on a portion of this property that shows drainage from farming activities. It's not an optimum, it's not good for the bittern to actually nest in this area because there's not enough feed for them to use. They're better off in Sandy Creek and the Annie Marsh, in which they are in there. They have come back. So with that being said, I'm wondering, in my mind, we tabled this, but last month we also asked for some additional input from some of the residents, okay, adjacent neighbors, welcome this type of activity. At this time, Keith, I'd like to go through the environmental impact statement, okay, line by line.
Well,
hate to be a nitpicker.
No, we're at,
It's the environmental assessment form, there is no environmental impact statement. May I suggest, is the gentleman from Passero here at this time?
yes, you is.
Before we go to that, why don't we allow the gentleman to kind of run us through the materials they've submitted?
Now, that we get some new faces and, okay.
See if this holds here. So, hello, and my name is James Ritzenthaler from Passero Associates, here on behalf of Anthony Piano, owner of 829 Moscow Road. Yeah, as you discussed, Mr. Chairman, there have been some updates since the last meeting. To go right into that, we have received comments from the town, we've received comments from the county. We have responded to all of those comments. Some of those comments from the county that just came in, I believe it was Thursday or Friday last week. We did respond to the town with those today, but in reviewing those comments, a lot of them are repeat comments that the town has already brought up, specifically about the Yankee Creek and some of those environmental and other questions like that have already been discussed and addressed in the earlier town comment response letter. So we have addressed those comments. We have done the habitat assessment report by some of our environmental engineers at Passero, specifically about that least bittern bird species. It is found in the Yankee Marsh and some of the larger tributaries around the area. What triggers on the EAF when it was done through the online portal was the buffer area that the DEC sets up around any area like that, like the Yankee Marsh. That buffer area comes in just to the top of the property here, and that is just a check area. That's just a, obviously online mapping is not perfect. Don't try to sneak a project by just because you're 50 feet outside the marsh. So that buffer does come in, and that triggers on the online portal for our EAF. In the habitat analysis, our engineers looked at, obviously there's not any real habitat that supports this bird species on site. I also printed off a picture here because I know nesting was one of the questions. I'm sure it's to everybody as well. The bird species specifically weave nests in the upper grass above the water, which we have a small stream coming through here. We don't support the habitat on site. So, not to beat a dead horse, but that's pretty much what our analysis on site found, and to respond to that trigger on the EAF. Some of the other questions that popped up during the county comments were, of course, the stream corridor, the riparian zones, all the positives that those do for filtering stormwater, providing habitat, and all that. We don't have the center line here, but that stream corridor is over here on the property. We don't have any work proposed near it. We don't have any work that is proposed that will affect it. There is no clearing, there's no demo, there's no grading, nothing in that area. And the area that we are working in, this gravel parking area down here, actually sheet drains a bit to the northeast. So it's actually not running towards the street either. So that's a quick review of the obviously most important environmental aspects that have come up on some of the comment letters. If the board has any other more specific questions, I'd be happy to field those as well.
Basically, what we're gonna do here is, you're probably gonna get bored, fall asleep while I talk. To do the type of review that needs to be done or was asked by a resident, if we had done it. I'm not realizing this takes a life of its own. You have timelines you have to put. You have to make sure you get all the comments back. And now we're at that point. Probably at this time, we'd like to look at the short EAF narrative, okay? and maybe add a little bit with a bunch of areas, and zoning, and all that other stuff. I'm gonna go over that briefly, showing what the proposed action was. Proposed action here consists of an adoption of a special use permit application submitted by Mr. Piano for his business. There's an existing pole barn here. It's an RVL zoning, residential very low density. It was the site of a previous business that stopped, so we're filling back in a spot with a business where there was one before. 5.29 acre parcel. This doesn't affect the density or anything else like that out here. There's two buildings on the site besides the barn that are rental properties because people owned it, moved on. One is for like a single person rental. And that's all been, they've been permitted to code compliance. And the assessor's office looks at it for the appropriate tax. Okay, and that has been done. And some of it's been done for quite a while. There's a small shed. Regular barn is about 78 by 40. Basically, it's going to be for storage, and things he's going to have some, I'm sure, mulch and probably some topsoil and all the other stuff. Very, not a lot of fertilizer or anything else like that. And there's a specific area set aside. Fire marshals looked at it, went over it with a prospective business person here, and felt that it was adequate and that an fire hazard would be used. Some of the site work is probably going to be progressive, like the security fence around it may now be done in 1 year, but at least the side from Green Road, so they really would block. Okay. Any equipment that's in there, it's 6-foot fence, I believe, where they were releasing blanks. So the site improvements are very, very minimal. There's going to be 14 parking spaces and 7 spaces for employees' cars. There'll be some long stalls for trailers and trucks. Okay, maneuvering them in the back where the parking and everything's going to be, along with the driveway that goes out the Freeman Road. We've done a traffic plan submitted by Pass Road that shows turning radius, which even if there was a problem or needed emergency vehicles or hopefully not a fire truck, they could come in there and have access with no problem. Okay, or delivery, 10-wheelers bringing mulch in or some other type of ag material, all right, to use in this business. There was a welding shop, metalworking place in there before. The proposed legislative action here for seeker is an unlisted action. Okay, consistent with seeker number 6, NYCRR Part 617. And this is an uncoordinated review, as I said, that makes us the lead agency. But we also wanted to make sure that this fit good with the environment, because there were some special things on that road. Okay, there was a state park entrance and some bridges, and it's important. It's been used appropriately by the agribusinessmen and what's going on here. So we're going to move on to what the short form EAF, okay, we're going to go through this, so it's on record, all right? Short environmental assessment form part 2, it's an impact statement, it's an agency form, standardized, by most all municipalities. Number one, the proposed action create a material conflict with an adopted land use plan or zoning regulations. No, or a very small impact may occur. That's what's checked. Okay. Will the proposed action result in change in the use or intensity of the use of the land? No, or a very small impact. Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of the existing community? Once again, no becomes the answer. Will proposed action number 4 have an impact on the environmental characteristics that cause the establishment of a critical environmental area, CEA? Once again, the answer is no, very little disturbance. Will the proposed action result in an adverse change in existing level of traffic? An adverse change, okay, to the existing level of traffic, affect the existing infrastructure for mass transit, biking, or waterway? Once again, no. Half the campers in the world going to the park go down there because they can't handle the groups. Will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy, and if fails to incorporate reasonable available energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities? As we know, Albany would like us to have alternate energy opportunities for keeping generators going. Will the proposed action impact existing public or private water supplies? No. Public-private wastewater treatment utilities? No. There's an existing septic systems on that site. Will the proposed action, and by the way, back to 7, the facilities for any of the help or anything is going to be provided by Glenn Johnson. Okay? So, because there's no job in the barn at all. So, so that's being taken care of. It'll be taken care of by a reputable septic removal service. Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of important historic, archaeological, architectural, or aesthetic resources? Once again, no. And we sent to Office of Parks and Recreation, Historic Preservation, and got a nice letter back from Lawton Watts, Civil Engineer 1, two Lawton Watts, from Daniel McKay, Deputy Commissioner for Historic Preservation Division, and he signed it. Okay. Will the proposed action result in adverse change to natural resources? Wetlands, water bodies, groundwater, air quality, flora, or fauna? Once again, the answer is no. Will proposed action result in an increase in the potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage problems? In looking at the grading plan, it's pretty gradual, okay? And it goes to the north, northeast, and to the northwest, to a certain extent, okay? So all the buildings are above any problem with floodplain and flood zone. And since the county put new pipes on Masco Road, for any overflow that you might get from the farm, you know, a hard downpour or something else like that, when that drainage road fills up, we can take it across the road and refresh another portion of the wetlands by the farmway. Will a proposed action create a hazard to environmental resources or human health? Once again, no. This is a form, and it's got section 2. There's 2 boxes. One box is if you checked any of these questions, moderate or large impact, or no in the small impact. These are all no. This has been put together and reviewed by our engineer, our legal department, as well as pastoral, okay? And it's checked, and I'm going to be signing it as a town official, accepting these comments, all right? Once again, taking a good hard look at this project. And, that,
Well, no.
You don't want me to sign it right now?
No, please, that comes after the resolution.
Okay, well, it's gonna be signed. Okay, the ordinance, you've got that, take this as a whole, and what we're going to do for us once. Our uncoordinated review has revealed no good, rules or other things that might happen, no dam, no water back. So, I'm gonna offer the resolution, okay? And we'll go on it. Based on the information provided to this town, community, okay, by examining the application as well as information given to the town from various agencies, as well as the applicant, his due diligence, and Passero Associates, okay, we have completed the short form EAF and the short form narrative, which I read to you in some brevity. The unlisted action, uncoordinated review on your seeker, on analysis contained in the short form EAF and the short EAF narrative, and the record that is before this board, the planning board will make a finding that the action will have no significant environmental impact and adopts a negative declaration. Chairperson, myself, Chris J. Schleider, is authorized to sign parts 2 and/or 3 of the short form based on this resolution. We need to vote on it.
We need a motion.
Well, I made I offered it.
We have a
Okay,
second.
so I'm going to need a second. Second. Okay. Cheryl, roll votes, please.
Sharon Steigerwald,
Yes.
Steve Law,
Yeah.
Dave Martin,
Yes.
Chris Schleider,
Yes.
James Nesbitt,
Yes.
Ed Nelson,
Yes.
Steve Tippett.
Yes.
Okay, I'm not done with anybody yet. Sign my name on the other one?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Look for you, sir. I'm going to, I want to, just to show this, the necessary amount, hard work that's been done. Okay. And then you can do the record. At this time, before we approve or disapprove this application for a special use permit, I have a question. We have a site plan too. By approving or disproving this special use permit, does that include approving the site?
That is my understanding, because under the code, the site plan is actually required for that to the special use permit. But if you want clarity, say the words out loud.
Well, the fact that it is described like that, in the zoning of 520 -11A3 and C, 520-11A, and C, in the RBL zoning, it has to go along with the site. So I mean, by resolution of approving this, then the plan goes with the property, okay, therefore.
Yes, it always runs with the land. So, have we closed the public hearing? Okay, well, I want to make sure where we
Get
are.
everything in out front. Okay. At this time, is there anybody in the audience that has
I have no.
it's consistent, it meets the consistency requirement? All right, is there anybody else in the audience that has any comments on this project? Neighbors, is there clarity for what you're seeing and what you're expecting? I know Mr. Piano went around and talked to everybody, as a good neighbor should when they move into the neighborhood. Yes or no? We all good? At this point in time, we'll shut down the public hearing for this, and I'd like a motion on that.
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Sharon Steigerwald,
Yes.
Steve Law,
Yeah.
Dave Martin,
Yes.
Bruce Schleider,
Yes.
James Nesbitt,
Yes.
Ed Nelson,
Yes.
Steve Bittner.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I'm gonna offer a resolution for the property at 829 Masco Road, owned by E.P. Piano, for special use permit. Will it be resolved that, consistent with section 520-11A3 and C, parentheses, of the zoning code, the planning board finds that the applicant proposes to use an accessory building for a purpose not specifically listed above. And I, section 520-11A3 and C, okay, it's not specifically listed, but deemed by the planning board to be similar in nature and compatible with the RVL zone. Paragraph 1. Paragraph 2. Specifically, the planning board finds that the pole barn on the parcel where the applicant proposes to locate his business in such an accessory building, and that proposed use of the pole barn for applicant's business, which involves lawn mowing, property maintenance, as well as elements of landscaping, is a use similar to the listed agricultural uses within the RVL district and compatible with RVL zoning, which includes agricultural use listed in 520-11A1C parentheses. And once again, it's repeated in 520-11A3 and C. Okay. Resolved that the planning board incorporates this analysis in a short EF narrative in the record of additional findings, which we have done. The level of use that is similar to farming is in trying to take care of land, either for making it better or for crows. And as a board, I would hope by you voting one way or the other, you would understand that. Also be it resolved that the planning board approves the application for Anthony Piano for a special use permit. The ATP lawn care at 829 Masco Road in the RVL district, subject to the following conditions. Okay. This is where you might want to speak up, members of the board. Is there any condition that wasn't obvious? I'm adding as designed and designated as site plan. Screen fences to be constructed as practical as possible by code compliance, which means it might finish up being, might start it this year, might finish it next year, he has a good year. Okay, now I'm down to 3. Is anybody on this side of it think of anything?
The addition of snow plowing added to it.
Yes, we did discuss that. But that's property maintenance. That would be encompassed by property maintenance. And And if you want to add it for clarity. Reproduce condition as well as appropriate staging and quality. Okay, so I have offered this as a resolution. No, because I said it's designated on the site plan, and it shows in the code that in order to get a special use permit, you need to have a discussion with you. Okay? Good. So, Cheryl, you have anything you want to say?
No, I think concerns.
Keith?
No.
JP?
Yes, sir.
Are you good with that?
I will second the motion.
Cheryl?
Sharon Steigerwald,
Yeah.
Steve Law,
Yeah.
Dave Martin,
Yes.
Rich Slider, James Nesbitt.
Yes.
Ed Nelson.
Yes.
Steve Pittman.
Okay, very good. Now we'll continue with the rest of this. Did I miss any of the bullet points?
I think we're good.
Very good.
Thank you for your time and all your consideration on these past months.
Very good. I know it's been a long road, but, okay.
You're good to go.
Mascot Road is a long. But anyway, so we look forward to you starting your business there, and I know there's gonna be some special touches by your wife, there'll be little gardens around there, you know. You've already cleaned up the property, and I don't know what you're gonna do with that 100-year-old tile topsoil. You know, we were gonna make it part of the historical. He was in charge of the second. Very good. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, moving on. We have a conservation corridor development permit for Christine Stevenson, 5852 West Watoma Beach Road, to have a generator installed 100 feet of Lake Ontario. This is in an SR zoning district, and I'm not gonna go through the tax account. There's a letter of intention, the development permit application, instrument survey, non-jurisdiction, and color photos. So, is there anything you want to add to that, or just
No,
a
not really.
description
Just,
if you want the electric to flow for the pump station?
well, that and, my husband and I also use medical equipment, so, you know, that's really kind of the primary, use for full-time energy.
Okay, any discussion, JP?
You're on natural gas there, and the generator will be
Yes.
natural gas?
Yes.
Keith?
No concerns, type 2.
Sure.
No concerns, it's type of the puppy.
Will we be able to accommodate them? Have we been able to accommodate them?
We have, yes.
Very good. Thank you. Sure.
No concern.
Good. We're doing something different with these, because of having to have backup power, number one, for waste removal, and shorten the process, and
We have,
conservation board came up with an idea or something like
we
that.
have the conservation board, and zoning work together. Because the generator is more and more
Prevalent.
required along the lake shore especially. And, instead of going through the CHA process, which is a coastal erosion hazard area, which includes, structural hazard area and natural protected feature. It is determined of wants and needs. People want a generator, they need a generator, and in speaking with the CHA department of the DEC, the two entities, the board plus myself, have agreed that there no longer needs to be an inspection in the CHA area of generators. So in my final inspection on the generator will suffice for what it needs.
Very good, I'm feeling thankful for that. You still come through to us. There you go. There you go.
Just, they come to see you for 100 feet away.
Yeah, right, you know, but,
I'm gonna miss everybody pulling up in the truck and piling out.
I'll be strangers at your house.
we need a secret for this.
Yes, it's type 2.
Like, someone like to be so kind as to,
We'll make a motion then for Christine Stevenson, 5852 West Blackpool Beach, for type 2 negative debt procedure.
Second.
Sharon Steigerwald,
Yes.
Steve Law, Dave Martin,
Yes.
Rich Schleider,
yes,
James Nesbitt,
yes,
Ed Nelson,
yes.
Steve Pittman.
Yes. And for Christine Stevenson, 5852 West Bartholomew Beach Road, conservation for development permit to have a generator installed within 100 feet of Lake Ontario. It's in the SR zoning district, tax account 008.15-1-22. Following documents have been submitted for review, letter of introduction, conservation for development permit, basement survey, DEC letter of no jurisdiction, and the color photo.
Sharon Steigerwald,
Yes.
Steve Law,
Yeah.
Dave Martin,
Yes.
Rich Schleider,
Yes.
James Nesbitt,
Yes.
Ed Nelson,
Yes.
Steve Pittman.
Good to go.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you for your help with that.
Okay. Last item on the agenda is for Brittany and Austin. Elite saw,
Yes.
did I say it right? Okay, at 5872 West Potomac Beach Road, to install a 4-foot high black aluminum fence to keep your dog from getting loose in the neighborhood. It's considered a difficulty. It's within Shoreland Residential Zoning District and CDOT area. Anything else you want to add?
We already went through the process, the fence is already installed. There was just a language discrepancy in the original permit, so we're just crossing our T's and dotting our I's and coming back through. We purchased the land next to us, and there was an amendment to the previous process, so we're just making sure everything's legal and correct.
Any questions? JP?
No engineering concerns.
No legal concerns.
No legal concerns? You have a concern?
No.
Sometimes they don't know.
I have no concerns. They provide by all the rules. And if anything has been misguided, we don't bring up and fix it. Good stewards of the property.
No concern? Okay. Someone like to, be speaker?
Make a motion then again for Brittany and Austin meets on 5872 West Watomo Beach Road for CEQA type 2 negative debt.
Second. Call the roll.
Sharon Steigerwald,
Yes.
Steve Law,
Yes.
Dave Martin, Rich Schleider,
Yes.
James Nesbitt,
Yes.
Ed Nelson,
Yes.
Steve Pittman.
Yes. And the Conservation Corridor Development Permit for Brittany and Austin Leaksaw, 1572 West Wacoma Beach Road. And they're adding a 4-foot high black aluminum fence to keep their dogs from getting loose in the neighborhood. It is considered a practical difficulty. This is in an SR zoning district and a CEHA area. This has already been approved by the zoning board of appeals, tax account 008.15-1-17. All the documents have been submitted for review, the Conservation Corridor Development Permit and the letter of introduction. Oh, yeah. Instrument survey, fencing code, photo from DEC, email from DEC, ZBA showing original approval for the fence, photos of the fence, and no photo of the dog.
There's a few dogs, but no photos.
I'll second. What kind of dog?
Sharon Steigerwald,
Yeah.
German Shepherds.
Yes.
Steve Rock,
Yes.
Dave Martin,
Yes.
Rich Schneider.
Yep.
Jim Hassett.
Yes.
Ed Nelson.
Yes.
Steve Hitt.
Yes.
Okay, well, good.
Thank you.
Thanks for, reading.
Not a problem.
Discussion. Town board.
Nothing really too new. We've got, farmland protection plan has been sent to Albany for review for ag and markets, and they've approved it. And it's heading to the county, ag board for their approval.
At this point in the process, there's no other corrections.
Nope.
So the last one we looked at is the way it's.
The final draft has been, I don't anticipate the county coming back with any revisions on it. So we're anticipating a couple of months, we should have that wrapped up.
Okay, well, step 2 in this process, let's basically get approved. How does that involve us as a planning board? Do we have to sign off on it? Is there,
No, just the county.
how do I know, as part of the board, to let everybody know that it's consistent with that part of the?
That, once the town board accepts it, then it will be passed along to the planning board as a reviewing document.
Okay, so we'll review it, we have to agree with it. It agrees with it.
Well, it'd be,
Is it a checkoff box?
it'd be very similar to the master plan, comprehensive master.
Well, it'll have to be there. I don't know what else we have to do for a comprehensive plan besides zoning code, update. Supervisor said at the last meeting, that it's gonna be the next hill we gotta climb. Is that something you think we would do this year?
Now, he's looking into reviewing the code book,
JP, is this part, should this be a time when we look at our construction details and do any changes based on material availability or any updates that you could come with? You don't have to answer tonight, but if we go down this road, we want to be real comprehensive. So when we get our new comprehensive plan here for the zoning, we make sure that those.
Yeah, they should all be in alignment. Your development regulations are probably pushing,
15, almost 20 years.
yeah, probably in the 20-year range. 2004 sounds about right. Yeah, I mean, there's changes in materials and construction options, so that it wouldn't hurt to look at it.
Things I'm looking at that might change is manhole frames and covers from Canada. And other types of pipe products that are more readily used to separate waste stream. Different types of pipe.
Yeah.
Also in Canada, we've got PVC. The ASN 12.
It's somewhat of an economic question rather than what you would
Well,
choose to
you
use
could,
on.
you could, say, within 5 years, the goal is to get all these products made in USA.
Don't think we can tackle that here. No.
You gotta say USA in the gas station. USA. It was USA Japan. Trees, there you go.
Pardon me?
Trees.
Yes, we did our tree giveaway, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
I think, yeah, we gave away 600 trees. It was, everything went well.
Is it a good selection this year? Or somewhere-
No, they were all evergreen trees, but we had about 5 or 6 different varieties. And they're really healthy looking trees, great root systems on them. And so people appreciate that we do it. And also, the town board approved Scott Martin as a fifth member of our conservation board, so now we're back to a 5-member board again.
What's his background?
He's an engineer and Army veteran. And with some of the-
Civil engineer or?
he didn't specify, he just said engineer.
I think he was civil.
What's that?
I think he was a civil engineer, but he had a couple of degrees. It was science and a whole bunch of stuff.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
You know, environmental issues and stuff are a big part of civil engineering. It's always good to have somebody with that background. I see fire marshal stopped in and say hi. I'm afraid to ask. So you're smiling tonight.
Oh, I'm always smiling.
Line is, BJ's been lucky enough, he's had a chance to see most of the projects now that we've gone through this year. And we count on the fire departments and some of your recommendations, that goes through Cheryl and so as part of these things. We can't make every fireman happy.
Let me know if you can.
Yeah.
So, but I thank you for the input, and Cheryl. Okay. And Keith, I like this format. If they, something that was muddy in the look of somebody else, very clear the waters. I would like to see maybe more of this when we get into something in a sensitive area.
Mhm.
Okay. Our responses, how we go about this, these findings we talked about, and gotta preface things based on the application. What was given to us by the applicant, okay? Not just what we required, but was given to us by the applicant early on. Okay, we need to look at, so everything we do for 2 or 3 meetings in order to get approval, okay? That's where our findings are from. And that's where you can make a resolution. Okay? And we still vote on stuff and everything else like that. But it's in the wording. Okay? A lot of people, and even the person that addressed us for certain concerns and stuff, it didn't go through deaf ears. It made people think, and I would hope it made all of us think a little bit. And then adding a little bit more professionalism by what Keith did, okay, he was able to get to something that, you know, he had to do a lot of background stuff like that, but I don't want him to have a different hat size, okay? But he did a good job, and I appreciate it.
I don't wear hats, but it's okay.
Well, then you don't have no problem. You go right ahead and keep doing it. All right? And like I told you a long time ago, you can interrupt me in a meeting, tell me I'm all wet. I don't care. Okay? If it benefits everybody, I get it. Anything else? use.
And I have a couple of things, if you don't mind, sir. BJ and I have worked diligently on, 328, Nuts Corners, 344. It was a little difficult for the person opening to, know what to do. And we helped him, he did, have a few issues of concern about opening without a permit. BJ worked hard all weekend, we were there twice, to make sure that all the fire inspections were completed as he requested. And I was out of town, so, today they did receive their certificate of occupancy to open the restaurants. So that's a good asset, I think, to the Hamlin community. And that, I've taken a couple trips so far to Vape Shop, Smoke Shop at Top Plaza. When I first went, it was stated earlier on in a meeting that all the glassware was supposed to be in the rear of the store on shelves. It was not, it was in the front for all people walking by, little kids going to the China restaurant. So, they willingly removed the vape glass, all that glassware is now in the back of the store. One thing today that happened was they had put a sign up without a sign permit, so they had to remove the sign. And because of that issue, and the location, it will be going to the zoning board of appeals, for an accessory use permit for that sign, and they'll go in 2 weeks. So, as that, everything else is going, as planned.
You and I had a brief discussion about parking at the old Nuts Corner.
Yes.
And JP, your drawing suggestion, we angled it because it's against a lot of back out of the wall. Vehicle traffic.
Yeah, it was on the site plan, it was
Right, okay. So probably have to wait till a little warmer weather, probably within the next few weeks if we can, is to get those angled parking spots put in like that. Because they have liability if somebody backs out of the road, especially within a couple hundred feet of that stop sign queue, which encompasses the queue for that stop. Get warrant for that. Federal Highway Administration is probably across the whole front of the property because of speed limit. So,
There were two more changes to, I'm sorry, just remembered. The lot across the street that the owners of the building own, it is now for employee parking only. And there will be no outdoor dining until at least August allowed on the property. And the parking issues, yes. But I think, okay, that's it. And then-
okay. So the Yankees game on tonight? The rain delay, frankly, was last night for yesterday. Okay.
Motion to adjourn?
All in favor?
Thank you.
Welcome.
Great, great
There are
meeting.
cupcakes.